Hello, this is PamelaTopjian, and thank you so much for being here. Today we are talking about those wellness or mindful apps, not the online therapy. That's a whole different can of beans, whole different can of worms, whatever they say. But I'm talking about those apps that are for your mental health apps. There are tens of thousands of them. And we may only think about 3 to 5 off the top of our head, and that's because they are the most advertised. These are the apps that you download to help you with depression or anxiety, that kind of a thing. Are they helpful? Are they harmful? Let's talk about it. What are some ways that you can use them for good and ways that you can use them that are not so helpful for your mental health? And if you have used any of them and you have an experience, a positive experience or a not so positive experience, I'd love to hear your experience, whatever that is. I'm not going to name different ones. There's, like I said, there's a ton of them. I'm not going to name which ones or anything like that, and or what might be best or be the worst ones or whatever, because partially part of it is some of them are going to work well for some people, and some of them are not going to work well for some people. Just like therapy and counseling, you've got to find the right one that's going to work for you if you're going to use them. So they can be helpful in the short term for in between your sessions with your counselor or your therapist or your coach, or until you can get in to see somebody else, right? Because sometimes it takes a while. And I would definitely, once you do get to see a therapist or a coach or a counselor, I would definitely talk to them about the app that you've been using, how you've been using it, and if it's been helpful, and what's the best part of it, and what is the worst part of it. They're not meant to replace therapy for those who have serious mental issues. And I think that a lot of people are self-diagnosing and delaying getting professional therapy. So that can be a real issue. That can be a real problem. They might be helpful in helping you to learn some tips and to have some tools when you're feeling down or when you're a little bit anxious. They might be good to learn some of those tools and tips and tricks and things that you can do on your own. It's not meant to, if you're not feeling good, open up the app, like, oh gosh, I got to get to my app. If they help you to learn things that you can do on your own, then that's a good thing. You have to be really mindful of how you're using it. Are you getting anxious about using it? Are you getting anxious when you're not using it? Are you worried that you're not getting the benefit out of it? Do you feel like a failure because you're not getting better after having used it for a long time? Or, um, a lot of times these are made like games. The creators have made them like games to where there's levels that you have to get to, and they encourage you to stay on longer, and you get rewards for being on the app longer or the more times you log in, that kind of a thing. And that's kind of dangerous. That's not really helpful, or it may make you feel even just disappointed in yourself, or it may give you more anxiety or angst. And that's kind of what we're trying to be able to better manage and control those feelings, right? Not add to it. So some people, will say that they can't find good help for a variety of reasons, and I totally understand that. It definitely takes patience and diligence to find the right type of therapy, the right type of counselor or coach or whatever it may be, any kind of help that you're going to get, especially for mental health, but also for physical help. Anytime you hire anybody to help you with anything, it's got to be a good fit. And there's going to be different people, even that do the same types of things, that are going to work a little bit differently. You have to feel that connection with the person that you're working with, whether it's a doctor, a psychologist, psychiatrist, a coach, any kind of holistic healing modality practitioner. Not to make this about, promoting anything, but on this channel, there's a whole playlist for self-help and self-care tips and different videos about a self-discovery journey, a spiritual journey, and there's guided meditations and visualizations. But to keep on the subject, there are some videos with conversations with different holistic practitioners because there's probably different methods of healing and different methods for your overall wellness that you never even heard of. So I have a feature on this channel, Holistic Connections, Conversations with Holistic Practitioners, so that the public can learn about these different methods and modalities that are out there. So that might be helpful. But some of these apps can also give false hope, and people might feel like they're a failure. Like I told you, like I already said, if you're not feeling better after you've used it for a while, you feel like, what's wrong with me, or like you're not reaching those higher levels progressing through the app. A lot of them are made like games with the psychological tricks that are used for creating these apps. Just like in marketing, they want to keep you on the app to get you to feel like you need it, to become dependent on it. And that's not healthy, of course. So in the short term, to use, once in a while, to learn these tips and these tricks and these tools, to learn some of these things to help you, to help yourself, that can be helpful. But you want to be mindful and aware of how you're using them. Speaking of people not getting dependent on these things for their mental health, any of those watches and the health monitors, and people can become obsessed. They have to know how much sleep they got every single night. And they have to know what their heartbeat was after this activity or during this or that or whatever. They have to know how many steps they took each day, and they can be really obsessed about it. And it can be helpful for sure to know these things and to help monitor your own health and your the lifestyle, how healthy you are. Um, things that you need to work on, but it's not good to obsess over it. And that's unfortunately what happens a lot. But the wellness apps or the mental health apps, like I was saying, be aware of how you use them, just like social media and other screen-related activities. They can be good in small doses and for certain people for certain things, but they can also do harm if you're not aware of how you're using them. So I think it just comes down to balance, and balance and being aware of how you're using them and how they make you feel, and finding what's right for you when it comes to therapy or whatever kind of mental health support that is going to be best for you. So, in conclusion, these wellness and mental health apps can be good in the short term. It's good to find the right one for you. Make sure that you're learning from it to be able to use these tools on your own when you need them. And make sure that you're not self-diagnosing and that you're not using it instead of therapy or, treatment. So I hope you've gained something from this today. I hope you've learned something. Let me know how you feel about these apps in the comments below, which ones you've used and how they've worked well for you, or how they, did the opposite. What your experience was. So thanks for being here. Thank you so much for watching and listening.